if you are thinking about a special place in the world that you want to visit and you've held back for any reason, map out a little plan of a few step by steps of what you need to do to go take that trip, go have that adventure.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good afternoon. Laura Petersen, previously episode 408 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. Then we got connected on August 5th, right, 2018, face-to-face in San Diego. Today, we're having a conversation again to follow up what's going on with Laura. Laura, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. And yeah, I'm actually due to have my first baby next week. So,
Wow!
yeah, kind of fun timing.
Congratulations. No, Amanda keeps me abreast of these things, right?
Yes.
And she
You guys
told
just
me
had a baby,
we
didn't you?
did. Yeah, we did. In August of 2019, we had my third son. His name is Angel, and yeah, he's just a bundle. Having children is definitely fun, I'll tell you. It's a fun experience. There are the challenges, but wow, yeah. Well, you get to see how it feels, right? Now, how are you feeling?
Pretty good. I feel big and sort of no position is comfortable for lying in or sitting in or standing for too long, but it's
Yeah.
worth it.
Well, I'm so glad that you've dedicated 12 minutes to give me the opportunity to have a conversation with you. Now, usually, pregnant women around this time, they're like breathing, like you can hear the shortness of breath. But I guess it's your basketball and gymnastics. Like it's kicked in, hasn't it?
Maybe. I definitely have been kind of lazy during my pregnancy, so I haven't gotten a ton of exercise except for just kind of walks and things. So if you ask me a lot of rapid fire questions, you might hear me start to breathe heavily. We'll blame it on the baby.
All right, I'll not do that. I'll not do that. Well, congratulations. And it's, again, a grand opportunity to have this conversation with you. So you are in San Diego right now, are you?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. And there's a ton of things you've just published within the podcasting realm and copy. Now, let's dig into that, right? Because
Sure.
it's important that copy pops, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. My podcast and my brand is called Copy That Pops. And so it's all about writing that stands out. And my background is psychology. I used to be a high school and community college psychology teacher. So I try to look for ways that we can apply principles and research from psychology in a fun way to improve our writing for business online specifically.
Now, where's the best place for someone to connect with that?
Yeah, you can go to copythatpops.com as a website. And then I'm on social media at Laptop Laura.
All right. Now, you said the last time we spoke, you don't do personal writing. Like, you don't do that. You'll teach people how to do it, but you're not doing it. Is
Well,
that the same still?
no, I definitely take on private clients. I've been trying to take on fewer now that I'm pregnant and, about to have a baby because I think that my time is going to shrink even more than it already has. But I definitely do still work with private clients. So that can be just doing a best-selling launch for a book, 'cause I really help with books specifically with clients. Or some people have come to me and they're like, I want you to help me with every step of the way, like from no idea and overwhelm to just even getting the material out of their heads and onto paper to formatting and getting a cover designed by a professional designer and then launching it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and everything that comes after that.
That's wonderful. Now, I know your father had the sales background
Yeah.
and the business side of you, I guess, was ignited by that. But how did you move from high school, especially math and psychology, and
Yeah.
what created that one step that I would do this,
Mm.
jumping into business?
Yeah, I think that my inspiration to start a business actually started before I was a teacher. I just couldn't figure it out. So I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad at age 21 when I got back from studying abroad in Germany for a year, which was already a transformative time in my life, having lived in Europe for a year and from the US. And so it was just a really unique, amazing experience and opened up my eyes to a lot of different possibilities. And then my dad gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that changed my mindset about what does it mean to make money or have money work for you instead of just trading your time for money in a normal 9 to 5 kind of job. So it just really turned my world upside down. But it took me, I guess, really like 10 years to figure it all out
Mm.
to actually start a business. And then also the internet needed time to kind of catch up and really be what it is to facilitate starting a business where you can be anywhere in the world. Because I never wanted to start like a brick and mortar thing because I love travel so much. I never wanted to be stuck in one place. So I ended up going back to being a teacher just because that was my comfort zone and did that for about 5 years, traveling all over the world in my free time. And then after about 5 years teaching, I was like, okay, it's time to make a jump and get back into this business thing.
Now, a lot of people say they travel, so let's just quantify your traveling. Last time we spoke, you were about to get to the 44th country, if I'm not mistaken. Is that number accurate?
Yeah, 44. I did a ton of travel last year in 2018 and spoke on stage in three different continents in Europe, Australia, and the US. And then this year, since I got pregnant, I haven't done any more international trips. So my number is holding steady at 44 countries. But we're going to definitely bring the baby to new places. So it won't stay there forever.
Can you imagine what your child's life is going to be because of the investment you've put in by expanding your mind and by traveling?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really believe that this world is a global world and we need to connect into that and not just stay in our little microcosms, our little micro spheres, whether that's culturally or language wise or racially wise or physical location wise. So, yeah, he's going to have definitely a more multicultural growing up experience than I think I even did.
I love the fact that you shared with us to inspire those that are listening that you held yourself back. And that's
Mm.
one of the regrets you had. But coming out of making the decision not to do that, so many things have opened and so many opportunities. What would you suggest to those that are listening? What's the first step they can take to stop holding themselves back?
Yeah, I definitely did for so long. And, I think that all of us are still on a journey. So there's still ways that I can improve even now. But I think one of the biggest things is just to not care and worry so much about what other people might think about what you do. And oftentimes it's really in our heads. Like I tell the story about the senior princesses. I can't remember if we talked about it on past shows, but when I was in high school, the really popular girls called themselves the senior princesses and they made these shirts and excluded everybody. So it's a story I often tell on stage just for inspiration because the message from that story in the end was print your own shirt. You don't have to wait for someone else to tell you you're good enough, tell you you're expert enough, tell you, et cetera. And so I really try to keep that message to heart. If I want to be a speaker, I need to just go speak. If I want to be a podcaster, start a podcast. If I want to be a blogger, start a blog. And don't worry so much about what other people are going to say or think. Most of the time, people are worried about their own lives anyway. So we kind of build up this thing in our head like, oh, it's going to make such a ruffling of feathers if I do XYZ, or people are going to look at me funny when really they've got their own things going on. So just move forward and take steps toward anything that you want to do and you never regret it.
Becoming a true friend to yourself is so important, yes, and you've done that. But I've seen you in action. We were at Heroes Hub, and it feels as though you have now become a true friend to others. How has friendship showing up as who you are impacted your life as well?
Yeah, that's a really interesting observation that you made because I feel that's really integral to who I am and ultimately long-term success. I just believe that life is about other people and experiences. So relationships and experiences. And sometimes in the business world, people are like, "Oh, how can I get this person to buy? Like I want to make a transaction right away." But really, the most beneficial relationships that you ever create are the ones that you don't even foresee where things could develop. So every time you meet a new person, you have no idea if that person is going to lead to the next huge business breakthrough in 5 years from today or make some other connection that makes to another connection and now you're on Oprah. Like I mean, I haven't been on Oprah, but like you never know where these things can go. So I think just going into every new relationship open and authentic and just trying to connect with the person as a person rather than trying to think what you can get out of them or even feeling insecure, like, what could I possibly give this person because they're so much further along than me in X category, is just go in person to person, build relationships, nurture relationships, and see where things go. And it really can be amazing to kind of trace it backwards, but you can always see it backwards in 2020. You can't see it going forward. So, yeah, I would just say welcome and nurture new relationships no matter where they come from.
A core component of that is the way you have conversations. And I believe
Mhm.
conversations are powerful. I've seen you
Mhm.
have conversations as well. Like you're all in, you're present, you're listening to the individual. And I think it's beautiful. You love conversations. It's one of the things you said when we spoke, right? Like, yeah, I love conversations.
Yeah, and what you're doing with this show and this movement is incredible.
I appreciate that. How does it feel when you look back from now to then, from that person who printed their own t shirts? How does it make you feel?
Yeah, I think it ultimately makes me feel proud and fulfilled, just proud that I didn't let things hold me back and fulfilled that I'm actually doing my best to live a full life for what that means to me.
Hmm.
So I guess now too, about to have my first child, I'm glad that I can set an example for him.
And he's hearing your voice like vibrating through, right? With all of the emotions that go with it, the
Yeah.
joy, the peace. Oh my, the peace that you've decided to do something that you love and you've done
Yeah.
it. You've been successful at it. And that is great. That is great. Well, I do thank you, my friend, because it gives both motivation and inspiration for those listening. Even if you listened the episode before and then you listen to Laura now to hear how things have lined up over what is almost 3 years now. It's
Wow.
just amazing to see the growth, to hear and understand that you are a real person and that you are making an impact in the world. So I thank you for that. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Oh, I would say if you are thinking about a special place in the world that you want to visit and you've held back for any reason, map out a little plan of a few step by steps of what you need to do to go take that trip, go have that adventure.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Again, amazing audience, Laura Petersen. Laura, again, thank you, my friend, for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.